these hands here, admittedly, audience, has never changed a tire in its life, ever. I had to get out of sales and become more of a leader, become more of a business-minded individual, and really look at the implications of decisions made financially and otherwise. Yeah, selling them for not enough margin to actually make it a profitable sale. Yeah, I've done it.
Welcome to the Gain Traction Podcast, the official podcast for tire business. I am Mike Edge, your host, and I have the privilege of interviewing the tire dealers, shop owners, counter sales reps, technicians, industry executives, and other thought leaders of our industry. This episode is brought to you by Tread Partners. Tread Partners is the leading digital marketing agency that specializes in digital marketing for multi-location tire and auto repair shops. Tread Partners works with clients that have hundreds of locations down to 5 locations. Get a professional, unbiased opinion and let Tread Partners review what you're doing. It starts with a simple conversation. To contact Tread Partners, visit treadpartners.com. So let's get started. Hey folks, welcome to the Gain Traction Podcast, the official podcast for tire business. We have a special podcast for you today. Kamard Johnson, President and CEO of GTT Commercial Tires in Richmond, Virginia, is our guest today. Mike Burns introduced us. He's with ITDG, and I couldn't be more happy working with Mike over I guess the last couple of years, but he's always brought us some good guests, and this is a dynamite one here today. Kamard, welcome to the Gain Traction Podcast.
Mike, thank you so much for having me. Super honored and a privilege to be here. And like you said, definitely want to shout out the other Mike that introduced us and really put this in contention to be able to happen. So appreciate you.
Mike Burns is an awesome guy. We talk periodically, and he goes, man, I got a great guest for you. So he was enthusiastic about introducing us, and I've been excited since then. But what's funny, you notice I just stuttered over your name, but the T's in there got me. Go ahead and tell us what your name stands for, because I love it.
Yeah, GTT Commercial Tires. The GTT portion is short for Get the Truckin'. Get the Truckin' Commercial Tires.
That's so creative. I love it. Well, let's start back about who Kamard is. And, all my listeners out there like to listen to, everybody likes stories, right? So tell us a little bit about Kamard. Where'd you come from? And navigate us to how you got to the tire world.
Yeah. I think this will be good for the audience. At least that's my aim. And so Kamard Johnson, born and raised Richmond, Virginia, south side of Richmond, Virginia, to a single parent mother that had 2 boys, my brother and myself. I'm the baby. My brother and I are 12 years apart. And so as you can imagine, wasn't the most close childhood. No 20-year-old young man is overly excited to hang out with their 8-year-old kid brother. And I will say, though, he acted as a father figure for a lot of my life and definitely kept me out of trouble and on a straightened path. And so super grateful to everything that he contributed to my development, directly and indirectly. I have a tremendous mother who, again, made a lot of sacrifices and done a lot of things to ensure that best she could. I was on a pathway with a trajectory that was ascending, right?
Yeah.
And so super grateful for both of them, because there's no way that I'd be sitting here having this discussion with you as the young man that I am and what I aim to become without the part that they played in my development, my journey, and overall my life. So just wanted to start with that part.
Listen, I love it when people appreciate the people in front of them. I mean, because we don't get there without it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even down to like the notion, and it's a bit of a tangent, but you kind of brought it out of me. The self-made notion, right? Like,
yeah.
I respect anyone that clamors to that moniker. However, I just think if we really dig deep enough, you can really uncover that there isn't anything that gets accomplished without the assistance of others. Even ideas that come from your own mind, somebody else plays a part in it, right? Like in our business, okay? The tire game, like we don't manufacture the tires. So there's countless hands, there's countless people who efforts contribute to us being able to get the product that then goes to our end user who we serve, that we'll never know about, never see, probably never meet. But nonetheless, they're playing a part in the success that we're able to achieve. And so I personally don't subscribe to that notion about, being self-made. But nonetheless, to get us back on track,
I like it.
Who I am a young man who has worked in sales primarily all of my working career. I've sold everything from appliances and electronics to cars and real estate. So, and everything in between, probably. And it's been a great ride. And so, leading up to getting into the tire business, that same loving, supportive mother of mine's, I tell her all the time she should have been a lobbyist on Wall Street or something like that, because she lobbied, aka bullied me into joining forces with my big brother in this business. And her and my brother,
You know what that is? It's just mama's intuition. They
you know what
know.
they say, mothers know best. And so
Yeah.
in this regard, she for sure has earned that statement to be tried and true. And in all actuality, professionally, it's by far the greatest decision that I've made. One of the
Yeah.
big reasons is because it brought my brother and I closer. Because, as again I mentioned, we didn't have the closest personal relationship growing up, and so by way of being forced in a business together every day, you either get closer or you grow further apart. And fortunately for us, we've grown a lot closer. That's my guy. So, she bullied me into joining forces with my brother, and their outlook, Mike, was that I would be able to come in with the sales experience, come in with the customer service experience that I had earned and experienced over my working journey, and add to what was already a solid business that my brother had created from a foundation standpoint. He had a lot of traction, right? No
I
pun
like it. I like that word. Good job.
intended. And you know, my biggest drawback, Mike, was, hey man, you got this thing going. You're the face, you're the voice, you enjoy it, right? My brother is a lot more hands-on than myself. These hands here, admittedly, audience, has never changed a tire in its life, ever. Um, and so, I'm very
I
transparent.
love it. I love your humility there. Just to say it. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm very transparent about that. My brother on the other side, he's trenches. He's definitely more technically sound, and he's that guy. And so he was that guy. My question was, being that, right, from a male perspective, we derive a lot of purpose from our ability to deliver, right,
Yeah.
and what we do professionally to provide. And so I was very curious as to how that would play out if he and my mother were correct. And then now I come in, I change things, with the latitude given to me. It works. Where does that then place you? And then how do you react to that? Right.
Uh-huh.
But to my surprise, man, by far the selfless move I've ever experienced in my life from another male, particularly an alpha male, uh, to give up that seat, jump in the passenger side, and allow me to drive us in the direction that we've been going in the last 6.5 years now at this point. Because I officially joined January 1, 2019. My brother started it July 21st, 2016. So last Monday was the 9-year anniversary for us, with 7 used tires in the shed of his backyard. Right.
Man, that's awesome.
So yeah, he allowed me to break stuff,
But
and
that's what makes your brother a really good leader too, though.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because somebody that knows their lane and knows what they need for the company, he obviously had the benefit of seeing his little brother have that talent, and he didn't have to look far. But I mean, I think that says a lot about your brother's character to go, look, my brother would be awesome in this one spot in this company, and I can do what I like to do, and we can just take this thing a lot further. And mama obviously recognized that, and then applied he went to her, which was genius, right? Applied the pressure on you because he probably saw it. But what's the old cliche? A prophet's not without honor except in his own hometown. And you can apply it to family or friends or whatever. When they're real close, you don't think, my brother. Some people can be arrogant enough to think my brother can't be the guy. It can't be that easy. It can't be right here,
Right. Right.
Yeah.
No, that's spot on, Mike, because to that point, my brother is much more quiet than me.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, he definitely planted the seed within mama's head, and allowed her to do the bidding. Because, rewinding a bit, when I went to him after probably at that point 9 to 12 months of bullying from my mom, and I just, waved it off, dismissed it, sidestepped it, because I had my own career going for myself, right? And things
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
working out well for me. So, again, to potentially create a clash with my brother, I just was like, it just felt
Yeah.
sticky.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so I go there one day. All my meetings had canceled on me. I'm in a three-piece suit, Mike, hard bottoms on, and picture that, right? And I'm walking into a freaking tire warehouse at that point, right? It wasn't even a tire shop. And he was with a customer at the time. And so back then, the business model was pick up and carry, right? So guys would come with their pickup truck and a trailer hitched to the back and take as many tires as they need. He was pretty much a one-man band, would facilitate the loading of the tires, collect the money, give them an invoice, the whole nine. And so I'm walking around the warehouse while he's doing that. And, once he finishes up, I'm like, so this is it, huh? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, listen, we get together at mom's house every Sunday, which we've been doing for years now at this point for dinner.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything from you about us joining forces. However, all I can be told about is that notion from mom. And so, like, is this a parental fantasy or is this actually something that you really are interested in? And in his, again, very short and sweet like fashion, Mike, and if you're ever fortunate enough to meet him, you'll experience what I'm talking about. The response was, yeah, I just been waiting on you. And that was it. End of the meeting.
I
Done.
love it.
And I'm like, seriously,
You
man,
got to give me more to go off of, right?
yeah, we got to have a conversation, man. What is it going to look like when I want to go left and you want to go right? Again, this is your thing. You created this from 7 used tires to now a thriving, multiple, six-figure business at the time. Like, what is that going to look like? And
Yeah.
like I said, he was very open, very confident, very selfless. And again, to your point, very much so a great leader to switch roles per se and allow me to get in the driver's seat. And like I said, take command
It's
of the wheel.
interesting. It's interesting. I always find this about life. All your past experiences seem to help you with the next one.
Yeah.
And if you had started this thing with him, it would have been too early for you. Like you needed the platform that he gave so that you could go see what, you know what I mean? Like, I got to have timing works. Look, I put everything in God's hands and timing just works. And I think knowing your personality and getting to know you a little bit, you needed a little bit of a platform just to say, because I don't know if you wouldn't have had the same vision that he had at 7 Tires, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what makes him great is that he recognized the opportunity, but got it to a level that said, okay, I need somebody now that can really pull the wagon. And that's what he recognized.
For sure.
Yeah.
One thing that he and I have talked about, and this will be the first time that this is said publicly, but privately, I don't really see myself in the light that a lot of people see themselves as business owners or even CEOs of like not publicly traded companies, where I feel like I built this because I know I didn't. And therein just lies it. I think my brother, like a lot of founders, because that's what he is, he founded this, they're real builders, right?
Yeah.
More like actual construction guys. I'm more the guy that I'm an architect. I'll write this thing down. I'll create the vision for it on paper, but somebody else has to actually put in the labor to, build it out. And I really think that is the essence that, the two of us have been able to really coexist in, is because we really have no overlapping of stepping on toes, because what he thrives in and where he is best fulfilled, I have no interest.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
So what a compliment that is.
Yeah.
I met a guy one time, didn't even know it at the time, found out later, and this is a whole nother industry, but I sold internet marketing programs to manufacturers. And this is a company down in Tennessee, and it was massive, big equipment packaging equipment. And anyway, I had met this guy out on the road somewhere. I don't know why, but to make a long story short, come to find out, he owned the company and he was the main sales guy, like national account guy that would go out on the road and sell it. So then I was calling on this company one time. I'd met him out on the road, but then I called on their company one time thinking he was just the sales guy. Okay. Then I find out, I meet the president of the company and I said, yeah, I met your sales guy, so-and-so. And he goes, well, he's actually the owner of the company and chairman of the board, and I work for him. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, he said he knew that his lane was sales. And so we run the company and he goes and gets the business. And I thought, wow, what a humble concept that he knew that, hey, I'm the guy that needs to be out there shaking the bushes. I know how to talk to the customers. I know how to sell our equipment, but I need you to run it. And he hired, you know, a whole executive staff to run his company, and then he stayed in sales. I thought, man, we're talking about a multi-million-dollar company. I thought it was just a really, I mean, you just don't meet people like that very often, but your brother seems to be in that kind of pool to recognize himself and said, hey, I'm good with this. I want to do this over here.
I believe the truest foundation of success is self-awareness. And so, yeah, I concur with that strategy that gentleman has used. And, you know, he's focusing on the sales piece and has built the infrastructure around him to be able to actually have the company run in a way that he agrees with, but not because he's the one pulling the strings. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like to think I'm pretty self-aware. I definitely know the things that I am intrigued with, interested in. And because the thing about it, right, Mike, I think oftentimes just because you're good at something does not mean that you enjoy it, and does not also mean that it's best suited for you to be doing. And so that's something
Right.
as well that I feel like I've benefited from, being able to remove the ego that can be associated with results that you can get from being good at something, and truly saying, listen, it's best if we defer this to Mike or this person or that person who has more enjoyment for it. And we can get them with the appropriate training and development to the piece of capacity where they're able to have an output that candidly can surpass mine's, just because they're not going to have the lull that comes from doing something monotonously over and over, that, yeah, you're getting good results, but you just aren't feeling it.
Yep. No, that's a great way of saying it. So talk to me about, because you guys have 3 locations now,
Yes, sir. In the state of
and
Virginia.
and you're strictly a wholesaler for commercial tires. Is that correct?
We're strictly so we're not wholesale. We're direct to the end user. So we're dealing with owner operators. We're dealing with fleets.
Oh, yeah,
We're
yes.
installing the
Okay.
tires. We do the mobile service. Yeah.
Awesome. How far apart are your locations, just for the audience's sake? The visual.
Furthest distance is about an hour, 45 minutes.
Okay.
So one is in Richmond, and then that furthest one is in Portsmouth.
Now, what was the strategy in the, in creating more locations? Was it your customer base just kind of demanded it?
No, that would be the textbook answer to give, but I like to be as transparent as possible. It was truly just ambition,
Okay.
and to a degree, Mike, being a bit overzealous, candidly, right? You know, I've learned a lot of lessons from the 6.5 years of aggressive pursuit of growth, and the thing that a lot of people don't tell you about growth when they're either reaping the rewards of it because they've been through it, or that are just talking from a in the stands perspective and they haven't actually been on the gridiron. Growth is not only expensive, but it does come with the other proverbial growing pains.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot of lessons. I've made a lot of errors and bad calls, if you will, as a result of my pursuit for growth, right? Like, you can look at this plaque here. That was all in pursuit of growth. You know, Inc. magazine recognized us as one of the fastest growing 5,000 privately owned companies in the country 3 years in a row now. And that's all been great, right? But the flip side to what people don't see that doesn't show up on the plaque is everything that breaks, right? All of the fires that just grow out of control, almost like the wildfires out in California because it's too dry. And you're the one left holding that extinguisher, attempting to put it all out. And so, yeah,
But you were also the guy that had the match too. You thought you could control it, right? You thought, hey, yeah, I think I can light this fire on, and all of a sudden it gets out here, and you're like, whoa, we got the end. And you get the customer service issues, you get all the other. Oh yeah, yeah.
supply chain,
Yeah.
processes, and SOPs. I mean, it all goes to crap quickly. And so that's the thing about growth. Growth magnifies not just the things that are going well and that you do great, but also the things that are not so well and that you don't do so great. And you got to figure out a way to not only compartmentalize, but how to actually shore those things up and become a solution-minded individual to put those things to pass. Or they can, of course, take you over.
So what did you do in regards to your personality and recognizing, oh man, I pushed the gas pedal too fast here? I mean, what was the biggest lesson that you learned about yourself? And maybe did you learn to pull on the reins on yourself a little bit? Or
I needed to do the exact opposite of what the gentleman did that you just mentioned that went full throttle into sales and built the team around him. I had to get out of sales and become more of a leader, become more of a business minded individual, and really look at the implications of decisions made financially and otherwise as it pertains to the effect on the business and its operations and overall, ultimately, its customer experience. And so I had to become more of a steward of business acumen and P&L and balance sheet, and just becoming a better communicator. Because oftentimes, especially in the small business environment, right? Whether you started or not, you come in and you may be employee number 1 to 10. And so there isn't a lot of processes. And if they are, as growth happens, they become outdated, antiquated. And so it's easy to get behind the cue ball and not necessarily be able to dictate what is the next best move for the company, because all of the decisions are coming from just here, right? And there's no data driving it. So it's either ego driven or it's either intuition driven. But that doesn't always end up being what is absolutely best for the team, for the customers, and for the operational flow to not have choke points and constraints that you create. And so for me, I had to take a step back from sales and really look at, how does this tire business work? What is important to the customers that we serve? Why are they choosing us? How can we best fulfill our obligations that we're saying we're wanting to do? Are these things that we say we want to do they complement the value that the customers see versus the arbitrary values that we think?
That's interesting.
They're usually...
Well, you probably learned this about yourself in the business. You've sold a lot of products, you said, and experiences in your life. So when you came over to tires, sales ended up not being the problem. It was because you could actually sell yourself into being unprofitable, right? I mean, and people don't understand that until they get there and they're like, what? I should be doing well here. And then you're not, because like you said, customer experience goes down, all these other things. That's interesting you bring that up. So our parent company is Tread Partners. They're the sponsor of this show. And we have told clients in the past, look, you don't need us yet. And they'll be like, why? And it's because all our people in-house know the tire business and the shop business. So we'll tell them, look, you've got other problems. We could bring you enough business to just bury you in the sense that if you can't handle cleaning up your processes, you're not going to get more profitable by getting more people in the top of the funnel at the door. You know what I mean? Because you got these other problems. And so it's interesting that we'll actually turn down business, or my staff, or my folks on our team will, because they'll look at it and say, man, we'd love to have them as a client. They're a big name and everything, but they actually have more operational problems that they need to clean up first. And we're talking about stuff that they can probably clean up within 6 months to a year, and then hit the gas pedal, because, your problem's not more customers right now. If you get more, it's like you said earlier, which I think is just really simple, but it's clear. You get more, but you're just magnifying your problem. You can grow yourself into just more problem. If the problem's already existing, it's like you said, you're just throwing gas on it and making it a bigger problem by trying to get bigger faster.
Sure.
Yeah.
That problem goes from hiding in the corner like a mice to sitting on your desk like an
elephant.
Yeah. So, I've learned a lot from the growth in the eras, even down to something I'll address that you just mentioned about selling your way into not being profitable. For sure, I did that. Absolutely. Had no clue that that's what I was doing, though, right? The intentions were pure. And that's the thing about the business side that is so different from being just a solo producer for business. Right?
Yes.
For me and my sales endeavors, all I had to worry about was convincing the customer that the value that I am telling him or her for this experience or this product supersedes the value that they have on the money that is in their pocket or obviously on their debit or credit card, right? And then I'm done with it. What has to happen after that? Deliver it. has nothing to do with Kamard. So none of these things came natural to me to think about. It was the same thing. Hey, we get these tires in, I'm gonna sell them. And selling them for not enough margin to actually make it a profitable sale. I've done it.
That's so interesting. I love the lessons you've learned. Is there is there a quote or a mantra? I like to ask folks this, something that you live by that just maybe a mentor gave you or your brother gave you, I don't know, that just kind of reminds you to kind of recalibrate in your head that this is what I do.
Yeah, that's an easy one. It goes straight to the source of my being here, my mother, right? She has always planted the seed in my brother and I, which I didn't understand it more so in my earlier years as much as I do now because I've experienced a little bit more of life.
Yeah.
But she would always tell us, you take care of the people who take care of you.
I like that.
And that has been something that, sure, you can look at the times where you've overindulged or over-indexed on your service to another person that perhaps may have been an individual of the parasite host type of dichotomy, and they're just looking to use you, right? Not even use you, abuse you, because I believe we're all here to be used, and I am totally cool with that. I relish it. It's the abuse piece that, can become a bit murky. But even in those instances, I've gotten to a point where I don't derive any ill will from it.
You can't, and I've learned that lesson the hard way too. I can't let that person's burn affect my relationship over here because that's not their fault. It's this guy. I got to isolate that to this person. If I was charitable, in other words, if somebody took advantage of my goodwill or whatever and kept taking advantage, and you feel like, man, I just feel like I get abused over here. Okay, that's isolated over here. That has nothing to do with these relationships. And I gotta trust again, and I gotta be kind to all these people still.
Yeah.
And that's a tough lesson, I think.
Oh, for sure, because you're the individual experiencing these feelings. And so anytime, in my estimation, when you're the one that has to go through, like, I'm of the mindset that the greatest pains, more or less, that one experiences in their life, they experience them alone. And so when you feel done wrong or you feel abused, of course you have emotions. You're human.
Yeah.
And so how you deal with those emotions is what then dictates what comes next. And so for me, I've taken two things from it. I don't allow for myself to charge someone else with the crime that somebody else committed.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
At that point, to a degree, you may not see it this way, but you yourself are replaying that unfortunate occurrence, if that's how you want to categorize it, twice now, or however many times you allow that to happen with people. And then the second part is, I just see it as you're going to go through life and meet tons of people. And obviously, there's individualism that shows up with all of us. Yep. But there's tons of similarities and synergies that we have. And I am just of the mindset that based on the phase of when you meet somebody and where you are and where they are, has more to do with the interaction than the signal pointing that, oh, this person's a good person, this person's a bad person. I just think that, we meet people at different phases. And as a result of that, they may be in that stage where they do need to do more taking. So they see it as, right, to be able to get to that next level, whatever that looks like for them. And it's not on us to judge that. It's not on us to condemn that because, we may have a different set of beliefs or a different philosophy of perspective. We all sharing this thing called life together. And there's so many days that can mount up where you aren't at your best, but somebody may not have caught you in a scenario where they could have said, Mike, I got you. I knew you weren't as good of a guy as everybody said, right? And because you haven't had that light shed on you in those moments where you weren't feeling your greatest, or you may have had a life event take place that obviously has dimmed your light a bit.
Yep.
Nobody knows about it. But then on the flip side, when you get somebody and you're like, oh yeah, I trained up this intern and, we did all of this good stuff for him. I took him out to lunch and I was really teaching him, all the lessons my dad taught me and all of the lessons I've learned from my prior manager and this, that, and the third. And he should be grateful to me. You just don't know where he is in life, if he's even at a point where he can receive it the way that you are intending it for it to be received,
Man, that's so good.
So yeah, that's how I look at it.
I love it. Before I let you go,
Yeah.
what's a hobby you like to do outside of work?
Ah, I'll tell you what is going on in my life right now. That's the best answer I can give you. So, um, a buddy of mine's, he is running the New York City Marathon by way of raising funds for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Nice.
And so I had the insanity to sign up for that pledge. And I too am doing it. I've never ran a race of any official status in my entire life, let alone 26.2 miles.
Yeah, nothing like starting
And
small, right? No,
yeah.
baby step into this thing. What the heck?
And I find myself right now, the hobby, Mike, is I am training 6 days out of 7. I am
Wow.
running 4 days and I am training my legs twice. And
Oh,
so that is what is consuming my time outside of work.
man, that's fantastic.
Yeah. But I'm grateful to be in a position physically, mentally, and emotionally where I'm able to endure such the training, to then put myself and my body through this feat for such a great organization that obviously is raising money, for research,
Absolutely.
for not a phenomenal cause, but for a cause that needs this level of attention, I'll say.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Kamard, I can't thank you enough for being on Gain Traction, and to Mike Burns for introducing us. Glad you're
Yeah,
here
no,
today.
again, I appreciate you for having me, man. And again, Mr. Burns, we appreciate you for making this introduction.
Well, listen, we'll have you back sometime, and we'll find out what happened with the marathon.
Yeah, yeah, let's book it.
All right. Hey, to all our audience out there, we love you. Thanks for being part of Gain Traction Podcast. Till next time, we'll see you. To all our listeners, thank you for being part of the Gain Traction Podcast. We are grateful for you. If you'd like to find more podcasts like this, please visit gaintractionpodcast.com. If you'd like to make a guest recommendation, please email me at mike@treadpartners.com. This episode has been powered by Tread Partners, the leader in digital marketing for multi-location tire and auto repair shops. To learn more about Tread Partners, visit treadpartners.com.